What's going on, Level Up family? Well, I have a very special guest for y'all today. I have my brother Rodney Stokes here. Rodney Stokes from RSA Services, and today we're going to talk about some entrepreneurial type of endeavors. My brother Rodney, I've been knowing him for I don't even know how many years has it been, man. Maybe I want to say our sons were what, in kindergarten?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. First year of school. So
Yeah, matter of fact, now that I
yeah,
think about it, it may have been I think it was pre-K actually, because I want
I
to say
think
they
so.
start pre-K and now they're both in the fifth grade, so that's like 6 years. They get
Yeah,
6 years.
time flew, man.
Yeah, good 6 years. Yeah, so man, folks don't know this, man, but you were actually a big inspiration in helping me get into entrepreneurship, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Just listening to you all those years ago and listening to your stories and stuff like that, brother, you always piqued my interest and everything, the things that you were telling me that you were going through, um, or the creativeness, the creativity that you were building your brand with, man. It just sparked that same type of interest in me, man. And definitely appreciate you for that, bro.
Oh man, look, it's a pleasure, man. But the crazy thing is, we kind of bounce back and forth off of each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like just certain things that I didn't know that you was on at the same time.
right,
You know what I mean? As far as the spiritual stuff, the
yeah.
quantum physics stuff, the law of
Mm.
attraction, even the affirmations with our sons
Yeah,
every morning.
bro,
You
that
know what I
was
mean?
crazy. That was
So yeah,
crazy.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the feeling is mutual, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's do this, man. Tell us about your current business that you're running right now, and tell us what's that about.
Okay, so currently I have two companies. So I dissolved my last company last year to kind of start fresh, but I've been providing email traffic since 2013. So I've been online as a marketer, as an internet marketer since 2011.
Mhm.
And so I have I can give you the quick story behind that if you want, how I got started with that.
Yeah, let's go
But
for it, man.
okay, so pretty much I'm not sure if your listeners remember or if they're like basketball fans, but 2011 was the year of the lockout, the NBA lockout. And so what happened was, I was hustling, trying to, make some money, trying to go overseas. I had a couple of connects. A big team out here was called DC Assault. So I had a couple of connects with DC Assault. I had a guy who worked with OKC and a couple of other people. And so basically my whole goal was to try to go overseas for a little bit, make a little highlight tape, chop it up and send it out to different teams. But what happened was the lockout happened and all of the NBA dudes was going overseas, taking the overseas spots. And then people who was just trying to, get their foot in the door had no shot.
Mm.
And so I kind of like backed myself into a wall in a sense because I had signed a 3-year contract with an agent in Las Vegas. I went to a showcase in New York. I got
Mm.
some interest in that, made the all-star team, all that. Right after that, I went to Vegas and I finally chose the agent that I liked. And then literally that next week, I heard everything about the lockout, called him up, got no answer. Every week I called him, got no answer. So I was stuck with a contract for 3 years. And the way that overseas works that a lot of people don't know, literally they can call you in the middle of the night and say, "Hey, Rodney, pack your bags. We want you in Italy in 2 days." So, I mean, you literally have to jump up and be ready at any time. So you can't have a real job. You can't be locked into a real job. And at the time, I think my son was like 2 at the time. And so I had to figure out how to make money and all of that stuff. So my idea was, let me figure out how I can make a lot of money, but I don't have to be tied in and I can move anywhere I want to. I don't, I'm not pinned down to a certain location. First thing I did was went online, typed in how to make money, started seeing a whole bunch of videos on YouTube and Google. I came across this one dude, black guy, right? Young dude. It was a website called ClickBank. They're still around, big website.
Mm-hmm.
He was flashing a check, $6,000 check. Young black guy drove up to the bank in a nice car, was saying, "Man, I get these weekly," so on and so forth. I was so hungry. I paused the video. I tried to zoom in to see his address on the check. I was going to write him something and send it to him in the mail. Like, dude, humbly, I just want you to teach me something. Like, that's how hungry I was. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
I tried everything. I would say like within 60 days, I made my first like $200.
Oh
From
wow,
there, it
okay.
was like $500 a month, and then it
Yeah,
went to like 1,000 a month.
yeah,
And so things didn't pick up with the basketball, so I just stayed with that. And that was what 2011, going into 2012. Went out and got my own place with my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now,
mhm,
my son, and I just kept building from there.
yeah,
So, like I said, since then I've been marketing. 2013, I figured out my lane was to provide email traffic for people, and so I've been providing email traffic since then. And also, I just created another company called AdRev Global, where I'm having a variety of softwares that I'm putting out, where people can generate leads and traffic for free using social media. So I got two softwares right now that's going to help people do that on Facebook. I'm probably about 2 weeks away from launching that. So
wow.
that's
That's
pretty
what's
much
up,
in a
man.
nutshell how I got started with that.
That's what's up, man. Congratulations on that software company, by the way. That's a big deal right there, bro.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, yeah. You know, what I like about what you said is that, you had to make a decision at some point because of the responsibility that you were being given at such a young age,
Sure.
when you Googled, how do I make money, or what it was that you Googled. I think
Yeah,
the awesome thing about that is the fact that you knew that you can use information to better yourself,
absolutely.
you know?
See, not to cut you off, but my
No, you
thing
good.
was this, and I learned this too over the years. See, a lot of people with like an athletic background or any
Uh,
type of competitive background, they typically go for the entrepreneurship. And I also learned too, and I'll tell you a story later in the interview how I learned this. I also learned that a lot of entrepreneurs went through a lot of painful backgrounds. They
really?
went through a
Well,
lot. Yeah,
I can understand
right. They
that.
went through
That's not surprising
rejection.
now. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So, they learn how to
I
push
almost feel
themselves.
like I'm sorry, bro. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you, but I almost feel like you have to. Like that's
Yeah,
like your
you
that's
do.
like your badge of honor. You know.
You do.
I
Because
don't,
you,
man. Yeah, I don't think you're a real entrepreneur unless you deal with that stuff.
you
Honestly.
got you got to be battle tested, man.
Yeah,
Because you got to feel uncomfortable. You have to have a level of um discomfort, man, to make you want
yeah,
to propel yourself in another direction.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I think I think it's awesome too is that when you start off in your entrepreneurial journey,
Hmm.
you might start with one project, okay, but 5 years, 10 years from when you started, you might end up in a totally different niche than when you first came on board,
Right.
Yeah, that's the
Right.
beauty of it is that, you might come in creating something initially, but as you go through different changes in your life, your interest changes. And so
Absolutely.
that means that whatever you're going to produce, that's going to change as well,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, because I called it getting dialed in, because
yeah,
most people, they do things for like shallow reasons at first.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even like playing ball, back in the day, everybody, I'm gonna go to the NBA. I'm
Everybody.
gonna have the women, I'm gonna have the money,
Yeah,
and you see a lot of people, even, people who actually do make it to the NBA
yeah.
their first year or two. Like look at Carmelo Anthony. His
Right,
first year, he was, straight from
right,
Baltimore,
right.
had the braids and all of
Cook it
that
up
stuff.
too. Yep.
Yeah, and then if you look at how he transitioned, even though a lot of
Mhm.
people would say he still didn't grow up in a few
Right,
areas, but if you look at how he transitioned, he got into activism,
right.
and he was, helping a lot of people. He had positive messages for the community.
Hmm.
So like
Hmm.
like with myself with internet marketing, and I think just business in general, most people get in because they want to make money, and then when you start to see feedback, when you start to see
Yeah.
results, and you actually help people, and
Hmm.
someone is like making testimonies for you, saying how you changed their life, you help feed their kids and stuff like that, it kind of switches gears inside of you, and you
Yeah.
say, well, I want to make an impact.
Yeah.
I don't care if I sacrifice, a couple thousand by going in this direction, because I'm looking for the long term, the
Right.
impact that I can actually make a difference with. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You get you get focused on providing value.
Exactly.
More so than making a dollar. What is the contribution that I'm making to people, and how am I making a difference in their lives?
Yeah.
And I
Because
think,
most people had that mentality to make a quick buck. It don't
yeah,
work like that. No real
no,
business
yeah.
works like that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And that even takes me back to a comment you said when you first started making money. I think you said at first it was like $50, then 100, but it kept growing from there.
Right.
But one thing that people need to understand is that when you take on this entrepreneurial journey, money is going to come and money is going to go, and it's going to be sometimes when you're not making money like you were before.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes, it might take you up to a year before you make your first money, or before you
Absolutely.
make your first dollar.
Yeah.
So it's not as it's not as straightforward as the job. Well, it's the traditional 9 to 5 job where that you're guaranteed a paycheck after 2 weeks. You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
with entrepreneurship, you don't know, especially starting up, you don't know that you're going to be guaranteed. You're not guaranteed anything. You
Not
got
at
to put
all.
that work in, and you got to figure out, what am I, this system that I'm building, um, is it working? Is it not working? And the amount of money that you're making, that's going to let you know if it's working or not. Okay.
Exactly.
So for instance, if you built a system and you put it out there and nobody's buying into it, it's going to take time for you to bring the system back, rework it, figure out what's working, what's not,
Yep.
try it again. Okay, it might work a little better this time, but it's still not giving me the dollar amount that I'm looking for. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to
Yeah.
bring it back, test it again, see what works. Bottom line, it takes time.
It does.
It
It's
takes
it's
time and
course
effort.
correction, man.
It is. It
That's
is.
what it always. I think it's Winston Churchill that said, enthusiasm. What was it? He said basically, an entrepreneur has the ability to move from failure to failure to failure
Right.
without loss of enthusiasm. And
Right.
Jim Rohn, big network marketing
Jerome.
advocate, and just a personal development guy overall. He said, basically, success is a collection of good results. It's just
Mm-hmm.
small results. And also, he said, you got to learn to discipline your disappointments. So
Right.
you can't
I
let it
like that.
affect you too much. And I'm gonna tell you a story, a quick
I
story.
like that.
This time last year, right, and before we got on, I told you my grandmother passed away,
Right.
and it's almost been a year, April last year.
Mm-hmm.
And the month before that, I had the best month that I had online. Period. I made 33 grand. Right.
That's what's
I
up.
didn't keep 33 grand. I made 23,000 profit,
Right.
but that's a lot of money.
Heck yeah.
But guess what? That very next month, exactly what I was doing that made me that money stopped working. So that next month, I made like 4,000, and
Mm.
not just that. My grandmother passed away. I was dealing with so much different, all these different things at once. But
Mm.
I had different practices that kind of helped balance me with the meditation and
Yeah.
binaural beats and going for walks and exercises. But years ago, that would have killed me.
Yeah.
But luckily, I knew, I had a couple of things I can go to. But that's the danger that I see a lot of people fall into, is where they wrap up their emotions and their self-worth and the results that they're getting. Oh, this
Yeah.
has to work, or I'm going to feel like crap. It can't be like that. You got to be a
Mm.
scientist. You got to be
Yes.
impartial to whatever result comes out. You just want to test and tweak, fine tune, and it's all about course
Mm.
correction.
Right. Right. And
Otherwise, you're going to be off balance.
absolutely, I agree. And one thing I learned is that you got to put an intention out there of what you
Hmm.
want, but then you have to become detached from how you're gonna get it.
Exactly.
And I think with us, whenever we put out something that we really want, we
Hmm.
zone in on how we're gonna get it.
Hmm.
So if my plan, let's say plan A doesn't work, I'm putting everything, all of my hope in plan A. Plan A is going to work. And if it doesn't, then I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But
Right.
guess what? Plan A is not going to work.
Right.
Okay. And you're limiting yourself to that one plan. But when you detach from plan A, when you detach from anything, when I say from anything, I mean from how how you're gonna get your intended result,
Hmm.
then I think that I think it frees you up then
It
to
does.
be that scientist
It
and
does.
to use your mind in a way where you can now troubleshoot whatever that issue is. You're not so fixed to this one plan that you're like, okay, this didn't work, so now let me try this.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you, man, because I've been through that. I mean, I've been through the ups and the downs, and like one of my first mottos when I first got started with business. I mean, keep in mind, I've always like been an entrepreneur type of person since I was a kid.
Right.
So like me and my sister, we used to fix kids' bikes in the neighborhood. We met this dude up the street and he was like, man, I noticed, you got friends and, you always got different bikes and stuff. I got a whole bunch of bikes in the backyard because he used to get stuff from police auctions, stuff that was seized and stuff like that. So he used to have like 15, 20 bikes at a time. That was my first time, like basically being a salesperson and getting commission. Every kid that I send up the street to him, he will give me a cut.
Mm-hmm.
We used to shovel snow. We used to do a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But even when I was in college, I used to sell, CDs, DVDs. It's not the best thing to do, but, trying to make some money.
You got to do what you got to do. It's college, man.
Exactly. We broke college students. I'm cutting people's hair, $5 here, $10 there. So,
hey, look, man, we had people in school selling things that, wasn't really, they really wasn't supposed to be selling.
Right.
So,
it definitely could have been worse.
You
know what I'm saying?
It could have been a lot worse. So it's all good, brother.
Right. So look, I basically didn't know. I thought I was a businessman the whole time, right? I didn't know I was a hustler. So it's a big difference between being an actual business person who knows the principles, who knows, the different rules, who understands business and business models versus being a hustler, a person that just knows how to scheme and come up with a quick dollar.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I had to transition. And one of my models coming out of college, I had just saw the documentary Spike Lee did on Kobe called Kobe Doing Work. I watched that, and then it was a documentary around the same time on Lil Wayne. And Lil Wayne was going around, and I remember he was in the hotel room. I mean, literally, he would record anywhere that he had a thought come to his mind. He pulled out his little microphone. He built the studio on the spot in this hotel room and started rapping. And it just hit me. I'm sitting in the bed, and I'm watching in my dorm room. And I said, damn, I get it. And I was like, man, them dudes are obsessed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, really, that's what separated them from everybody. I remember looking at Kobe, and me personally in college, I played ball, so I know I'm on the bench.
Hey, so hold on one second, bro. Now, I'm glad you said that because I actually wanted to segue to that for a minute, okay? Because I want people to understand, like, don't undersell yourself now, okay? Now, I know you play ball. Like, of course, just for my listeners, let's get something understood. I'm 6'3", so I'm a tall person anyway. But my man Rodney over here, he's what, 6'8", 6'9"? 6'9".
Yeah, 6'9". You can say that.
6'9". Look, you up there, bro. So not only was he a basketball, but you actually played against people like Kevin Durant, Blake Griffin in college and such like that. So you were putting in work, bro.
Oh no, definitely did, man. Basketball took me places. I mean, and I often say that it saved me for real, man, because I didn't care about a lot of stuff when I was a kid, but I grew out of it luckily. But now basketball, it definitely put me on a platform to where I can, go further. And even like I'm gonna go into this because I know your audience is into the law of attraction and stuff like that. Before we went to the NCAA tournament the first time when I played Blake Griffin, my coach pulled us in a room and he said, look, man, I don't want y'all goofing off, nothing. I'm gonna put a movie on that's kind of different. I want y'all to pay attention. And the movie was The Secret. So I'm looking at
classic.
Yeah, I'm like, who's this white dude talking about?
I think that's pretty dope that your coach actually put that in front of y'all, though. That's life-changing.
It is, but guess what?
Coach. Yeah.
Guess what? I was one of the only ones that paid attention in there, right? And not only that, I told you I was selling DVDs back then. So I went back to my room. I knew how to download, movies and torrents and stuff like that. I downloaded that thing. I burnt it. I started to really like play it over and over. And digest it, right? And then I started looking up every single individual person who spoke in that video. I looked up Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, John Assaraf, all them dudes, right? And that's really what started to change my mind. Cause I pretty much, man, like I said, I went through a point, man, where I didn't care about a lot of stuff. It was like all or nothing. I'm gonna try to make it to the league. If not, then I was thinking a whole different direction. You get what I'm saying? So that created a shift. But yeah, so back to what I saw with Kobe, right? So I'm like I said, I played ball. So and I know whenever I was on the bench, we was goofing off. We looking in the crowd, we seeing where our family at, we seeing where the girls at. And I'm
Of
looking at
course. Of
Kobe.
course.
Yeah. And this dude is focused, looking at the game, still pointing things out to the people on the bench, telling them to knock it off. And I'm like, that dude is obsessed. So my first year was obsession equals focus. Obsession equals
I
focus.
like that. Yeah.
So man, I went so hard, but I'm gonna tell you, I hit a brick wall. My third or fourth year, I put myself in the hospital. And I'm gonna tell you how. I was taking supplements. I was exercising hard every day. I was taking like metabolism pills. I was taking protein shakes, lifting. I was drinking alcohol. I was stressing myself out. Next thing I know, man, I woke up. This might be too much information. Went to the bathroom. It came out brown. I looked it up. They say that's blood. You need to take yourself to the emergency room. I was in the hospital for 5 days. You know what I'm saying? Just hit a brick wall, and that kind of shifted things too. So I went through a lot of milestones to where, like I said, I peaked, I went through ups, and I went through downs.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I
Right.
mean? But that's
Yeah.
entrepreneurship
Yeah, yeah, and thanks for sharing that as well, bro. I
for
appreciate
sure.
that, and I knew that story, but thank you for sharing that with the audience. One thing I learned, man, is that you got to be like holistically balanced, in order to be successful.
You do.
And I've went through my share of being out of balance for a while because it seemed like, okay, 1 minute I'll maybe focus on like the spiritual aspect of things where I'm like heavy into meditation, but then I'm not so heavy into like working out or exercising or something like that.
Right.
Or I might get into like into exercise, but then I might slack on like my meditation or like my reading or something like that. So like I always found that it was difficult, at least for me, to merge all three of those together so that I'm taking care of myself physically, I'm taking care of myself spiritually, I'm taking care of myself emotionally. And now that I have all of those in balance, there's a sense of alignment there.
Absolutely.
And with that alignment, it helps. It's like a coherence that I have where I'm able to think clearly.
Stuff is clicking.
Stuff is clicking. You're in your flow. You're in your zone.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting those ideas more easily. Bro, it seems like you get inspiration like just out the yin yang. Like you can see something. You could be driving and you see a freaking billboard or something like that, and all of a sudden, boom, I got this idea that I have to put down. And you want to
Right.
hurry up and put it down so you don't forget it.
Right. Right.
But it just seems you're just getting all of this information, and this information is lining you up to meet your intended target, your intended goal of what you're working towards. And like we said before, you have to become detached from how you're going to reach that goal. But I find that when you become into alignment with yourself and you become detached from the how, that things just come together.
It does.
It just comes together naturally, and before you know it, you're there.
It does. And I'm gonna tell you, man, I agree 100%. And you know that I stopped drinking a year and a half ago, something like that. And the first thing that I immediately, within like the first 30 days that I noticed was I was thinking so much clearer.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking so much clearer. I was just more creative. And then I also started noticing like a lot of things that I overlooked, like a lot of mistakes, things that I was paying for that I forgot about,
Yeah,
like expenses, just stupid stuff that I was doing because I
yeah,
wasn't sharp. I wasn't in my right mind. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So, and that makes me think of, I believe it was Albert Einstein that said it. Um, Fear suppresses the genius. And so like fear is a state of low vibration, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they say you're either in love or you're in fear.
Fear.
So you're either in a high vibration or you're either in a low vibration. So you have to go back to the reasons you're doing these things. Like the reason I was drinking, you know what I mean? It goes back to like, childhood, teenage years and
Yeah,
going through stuff, trying to self-medicate. So
yeah.
I had to, once I got myself out of that vibration of fear, it opened things up for creativity. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because
Yeah.
otherwise I was suppressing it.
Bro, folks don't understand how hard shadow work is, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you got to deal with your shadow and you got to deal with, you got to deal with all the shit within you, you
Yeah.
know, and then not only that, but it comes to the surface and you really got to deal with
And
it.
you got to deal with it.
You have to deal with it, man. That's the most hardest thing that you'll ever have to deal with, but it happens for a reason. Okay. But it's like when you deal with it and when you start to let go of those things that no longer serve you, those old mentalities, those old perceptions, those old way of doing things or looking at things, that's when, like, that's what you said, it creates that space for creativity.
Absolutely.
And me personally, I think that we were created to be creators. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
we're created to
Co-creators.
we're co-creators. We're created to create. You know,
We really are.
so I feel that, like, the purpose of chaos, it it stirs up things in your life to base your identity on something new. You know,
That's
it
true.
basically shatters your world and all the things that you used to base your identity on, and you now have to establish an entirely different identity. But by doing that, it's the most liberating process at the exact same time.
It
You
is.
know, because you feel like you're coming to yourself. You're getting to know this person that you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, who is this person that I've never known before, but I'm just now seeing, you know?
You know, you got to allow yourself to kind of let that happen. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times you get attached to ego, and all
Yeah.
ego is that self identity. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, oh, now, like the one thing, that I find is funny, people say, black people, we like, we don't do that. Black people, we do this, or like, oh, that's
Yeah.
for, it's like,
Those
not like,
stereotypes.
exactly. And that's what
Yeah.
we do to ourselves. That's what ego is. Like, nah, I don't do that. Once you suspend that limitation, and you move out of that ego, because like you said, that shadow, dealing with all of those things that you've been suppressing, when it started to come to the forefront, you really start to see who you really are. Because either
Mm-hmm.
you can try to run from it, suppress it, self-medicate it again, or you deal with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's
Right.
it's a reason. And if you want to, we can go into the subconscious mind, man.
Oh, let's go.
Because
Hey, bro, look, we you
man,
already like, and look, we do this. We talk about this thing, man. So, like I told you before, we're talking about entrepreneurship, but we're also throwing a conscious spin on it as well, bro. So we're all
for
for it.
sure.
So let's
And
go.
yeah, and I mean, and entrepreneurship is really like the best personal development course that you can go through, honestly. Because just like I said, basketball saved my life, entrepreneurship saved my life as well.
Right.
Because I was, when you try to reach a result, or um, when you try to level up, you know what I'm saying? When you try to
There
better
you go.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
You can't get there being the same person. Otherwise, you would already have the results. You have to change yourself. And when you have to change yourself, you got to look at yourself and see
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all mindfulness is.
Yeah.
You're looking at exactly what you're doing to get the results, because we live in a universe that's cause and effect.
Right.
That is the primary law of the universe. Cause and effect. What you sow is what you reap.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people run around crying, woe is me, I feel sorry for myself, my life sucks. They're looking at what they reap. You're not looking at why. You're not looking at what you've been sowing this whole time. And that's okay. Like, it's no blame, because maybe you didn't know. Maybe your parents taught you this way, or maybe you grew up on the streets and you saw that's how things operated. Or maybe, you learned it from TV. We don't know any better. But once you do, that's just like they say, if you knew better, you would do
You
better.
would do better.
It's your
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. Once you get this information in your hands, that you are a creator, you can change your life, it's your responsibility to dig into that stuff. Because I'm gonna tell you, the subconscious mind operates and controls 95% of everything that we do. Whenever you're on autopilot and you're doing your thing, you're in flow. Or like when you're playing ball, people say you're in the zone. You didn't have to think about it, your body just did it. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do all the time. It's just that, we notice it when we do something with people clapping for it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But we're
Exactly.
like that 95% of the time, whether you
Exactly.
get the good results or the bad results.
Right.
I think it was Earl Nightingale. He said, everyone is self-made, but only the successful will admit it. That's
Exactly.
deep,
That is deep.
because
Yeah.
people who are getting the bad results don't want to admit that they play a part in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you self-made too when you're poor, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you were left with nothing, maybe you had no family, and that's not your fault. But we live in an age where you can look up anything. A lot of man, my sister went back to college, right? She's a graphic designer. She has her own business and everything now, but you know, she was kind of trying to find her way, and she went back to college twice. And I asked her the second time, I said, man, a lot of that stuff on YouTube, ain't it? She said, oh my God. She said, I be getting tired of that. She said, my the majority of the stuff that they tell us to look up is on YouTube. They give us a link. I said, and that's crazy. And
Yep.
they took your check. They
Mm-hmm.
got their money and told you to go to somebody else's channel
Just like
to
that.
look this stuff up. You know what I mean? It's no excuse. I mean, we live in an information age. You literally can change your life overnight.
Just like that. Just like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I want to go back to something. Talk about that whole victim mentality thing too, because
Mhm.
I think I think you hit on something very important. And at some point, I think we all fall into that victim mentality.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's easy to get like that when things are self-destructing around you, where you get into that whole "woe is me."
Right.
But one of the most powerful things when I found myself in that position, one of the most powerful things that I did was I had to step back, and I had to assume the position as observing,
Right.
just observing my situation. But it's a different type of observation. I'm not just observing what's going on externally, but I'm observing what's going on internally,
Absolutely.
within my mind, within like within my perception, within the story that I'm telling myself, that is causing me to look at my situation through that lens. Because what people don't understand is that what you observe is what you're going to experience.
Absolutely.
And that right there is what creates your reality.
That's
So
perception.
that it's all all is mind. It's
Yep.
all perception. So in order for me to shift from the victim mentality, I had to shift to that creative mentality, meaning that I'm creating my reality now by being conscious of what I'm observing.
There you go. I mean, that's how you change.
That's how you
That's what
change.
makes you a co-creator
Yeah,
because you're already creating, but when you take control of it, you can
yes,
manifest anything. All manifest means is to reveal. And
right.
we're manifesting stuff every single day. But like I
Even
said,
if you
when it's
don't
good
know it,
results, we want to admit, oh yeah, I
right.
was in the
I did
zone.
that.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like, yeah, I've
right.
been working and all that. So yeah, you know what I mean? I got the result.
Look, but you quick to place that blame once you mess up though, huh?
Exactly. It's the
That
same
wasn't
for
me. That was
everybody.
on them.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the thing that I learned, man, like I said, the subconscious mind operates 95% of the time.
Hmm.
And so that's the automated emotional mind. When
And we
we
can
just,
change that too.
yeah,
We can
and
change. We can tap into that subconscious mind and change that.
exactly. And
Hmm.
the best way that I found to change it and manifest what I want is you have to, okay, so I'm gonna tell you, Bob Proctor, let me go back to the law of attraction.
All right, let's go.
Bob Proctor, that's my man, right?
Absolutely.
So my son Jace, his middle name is Peyton. And so before he was born, I have a junior, Rodney Stokes Jr.
Yeah.
My wife wanted to have basically a son with her initials. Her name is Jachelle Patrice Stokes. So she was like, all right, let's come up with a P. And I
Hmm.
said, Proctor. She was like, Proctor, what you mean? What for? She was like, who you
Hmm.
know that's Proctor? I said, Bob Proctor. I used to call him my white father. I said, that's my white father. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
like that man put me on. He changed my mind. It
Yeah.
didn't go
A
that
lot
route.
of people's minds, man. A lot of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's just telling you like how deep into it I was and how grateful I was. I looked up everything that man put out. The one thing that I like that he says is he talks about paradigms. And just like we were just talking about perception. And the way he defines it is paradigms is a multitude of habits. And so
Mm.
everything we do is either to avoid pain or to gain pleasure.
Right.
So if you think about anything we do that's within our nature, nature just means natural, right?
Hmm.
Anything that comes naturally, that's second nature to you, is because at some point, that's why when you go to a shrink, they take you all the way back to your childhood. At
Right.
some point, you learn that you gain pleasure by doing that habit, or you
Hmm.
avoided some type of pain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whatever you want to change, you have to think, when did I start doing that? Why did I start doing that? And what can I put in place of that? Once you figure out what you can put in place of it, then you have to go into habit creation.
Right.
And the way you create a habit, they say 21 days. They say it takes 21 days to create a habit, but they say a lot of times it takes up to 66 days. So what I do is I go for 66. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So if it's a new
kind
habit,
of reinforce it some, give it more time and reinforce it.
exactly, it can't
That
hurt.
makes sense. Right.
So my thing is when I'm creating a new habit, and I try to create a new habit every quarter, right? So every 3 or 4 months I'll create a brand new one, and I go for 21 days straight of giving myself a reward. And so the reward comes in a form of either dark chocolate. It has to be real dark chocolate because it releases dopamine. Or I give myself a smoothie, like any fruit or anything that releases dopamine.
Right.
It triggers, it locks in that action with that emotion. Because you got to think about it. Anytime you do something,
it's the feel good chemical, that
right?
Pleasure chemical, yeah.
Right. Everything is association. So whenever you think of a person, a place, or a thing, your brain scans past it and says, "How do we feel about it? How do we feel?" That's why they say people don't remember what you said; they remember how you made them feel.
How you made them feel, right?
Right. So you have to lock in that thing, that person, place, or thing with a positive association. And the way you can hack that is dark chocolate, all of these different things that release dopamine.
That's
Anyone
crazy.
who's listening, you can look it up.
Dark
so
chocolate,
I do that
bro.
for 21 days, right? And then after that, typically I don't need to do that because I'm already on the road. I go for 66. But every day I mark down, I put an X on my calendar. And that's another trick I do. It's called Don't Break the Chain. I learned that from Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, yep, same thing, bro.
Right. So right now I'm on, I exercise at least an hour a day. I'm on almost day 600. I'm on like day 590 something. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
Yeah. And guess what? This is the final thing I'm going to say on it, right? Because I said, human nature, we do things because we want to avoid pain, gain pleasure. Now, if somebody do something almost 600 days in a row, there's no way in the world you want to stop doing it now. In your mind, you're like, damn, I don't went this far. I cannot break that chain.
Yeah, it's a part of you now.
Exactly. So not only did it make it to my subconscious and it's a habit now, but also I have pain associated with stopping because I do not want to break that chain.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
I get exactly what you're saying.
And then I manifest whatever I want on the other end of that.
Right.
It's cause and effect.
It's cause and effect. Wow. And you're that cause that creates the effect, though. That's the beauty of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for sharing that, man. Thanks 100%. For sharing that. And it's funny because as you were sharing your story, you made me think of what I've been recently doing to shift my subconscious mind as well. Because that's something that I think we all have to do.
Right.
In order to get to where you're trying to go, we all have to create that new brain chemistry in order to get to where we're going.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I've been doing is every day I've been writing down a list of affirmations, and those affirmations are based on certain goals that I have for myself. So one goal that I have for hey bro, you still there? I see it looks like our screen may have. Okay, it looks like your screen muted. Okay, cool. So one list of those affirmations are more so for like abundance and like money and health and such like that. And then I got another list of affirmations that are more so for like my body, like working out and such like that. So what I did was I've been doing it every day, and the goal was to do it every day for 1 month. Okay. So I used the exact same concept that you were just talking about, was the Jerry Seinfeld, Don't Break the Chain.
Right.
And for those who don't know what that is, you can look it up. But basically what you're doing is you have a calendar, and every day that you're doing your goal, you mark a O around that date on the calendar. And as you keep going through your days, you're eventually going to see a chain. Okay. And the idea is not to break the chain. And the longer it gets, the more you're going to be motivated to see it grow and get longer. Okay. Don't break the chain. So anyway, I went through it for 30 days. Okay. So when I got to day 30, which was actually 2 days ago, I got to day 30. I wanted to do an inventory to actually see okay, since I've been doing this, do I have some actual benchmarks that I can
Mhm.
measure to see, okay, what worked and what didn't work?
Right.
So I sat back and I thought about how I was feeling and what I was going through right before I made the decision to start the affirmations. Okay.
Mhm.
So during that time, I was in a lot of frustration just because one of my business websites had crashed. It's the same story I told you about that one of my contractors that I was working with. I spent hours with this guy building this sales funnel for me on this website. I had blogs, I had my ebook and all that, the whole nine.
The whole
Um,
thing disappeared.
the whole well, it you can pretty much say it disappeared, yeah.
Yeah.
But what happened is that they let some type of security certificate expire.
Oh my goodness.
So now you can't even access the website or anything. So I've been reaching out to this guy. No call, no email back, no response, no nothing.
It's
I reached
crazy,
out to
man.
the website customer service, no get backs, no anything. So I was at a point that I didn't know what to do. I was frustrated and I had ran out of ideas. Um, and I was also kind of upset with myself because for a different reason now, because I told myself I was going to start exercising, but because I was so busy with this project, I didn't. I
Mhm.
think another part of me was like learning to start like working out more. But I just felt so constricted that I just didn't. And I think I was like subconsciously feeling guilty about that.
Mm.
So that's how I was feeling before I started. Okay.
Right.
So then after the 30 days, I measured, okay, what's changed between then and now. Okay. So right now I'm glad to say that I am on day number 14 of exercise and of working out.
My man.
I'm using the exact same don't break the chain method. I'm
Right.
going strong. Um, from a business standpoint, I've started a totally new platform where I'm not only merging my ebook, but I'm merging the blogs, I'm merging the the YouTube videos, I'm merging I told you about another business idea that I had that I'm working on, which was creating a financial literacy online curriculum. So I'm building that out now, and I'm merging that into the platform as well.
That's big right
So
there.
yeah. So it seems like it did work because now all of a sudden I'm having access to all these ideas, and then not only that, but it seems that I'm actually aligning with people that are helping me build a team and put these ideas into action.
Right.
So I'm working out now, so I feel good about myself right there. One business plan failed. Well, if you want to say it failed, but it was an opportunity and I
Yep.
capitalized on it. So now I'm not only building an entirely new platform, but I have like two different business ideas that I'm building at the same time to also include on there so I can add more value to my customers.
Right.
So I highly, I highly believe, bro, that had I not been doing that exercise of writing those things down, writing down those affirmations and taking the time to actually look at it and read it to myself, I believe that if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be in this situation. You know,
You might not have, man.
I strongly believe that. I strongly
And
believe
I'm
that.
gonna tell you. I mean, and congratulations too, man. That's
Thank
a
you.
lot. You got your hands full, man. And you know, like I said, I'm here
Appreciate
for
it.
you whenever you need help with anything or
You
whatever.
already know. You already know.
But
Appreciate it.
yeah, your brain, man, your brain is like a computer, right? So I tell people, man, you have to monitor your operating system. So if you have, a regular computer, if you have a laptop, you don't want to be, try to do the latest things with a Windows 95 or Windows 98. But that's what we're running around doing.
Mhm.
We got a Windows 85 or Windows 88. You know what I mean? That we're running off. And so, like I said, with a shrink, all a shrink does, why they call them a shrink, is they shrink it down. They take what you think is a big problem and they shrink it down. Okay, when did that start? Okay, when did you first start thinking that? Okay, and who told you that? They bring you all the way back and then you see when that system was installed in your mind. You get what I'm saying?
That program.
Exactly,
yep.
that program. And so every day that we're not affirming something, every day that we're not purposely creating a habit for ourselves, we're running the old program. And we don't even know because, oh, that's me. I'm just like that.
Right.
You know, I've always been like this. No, you haven't. Like, this is what I told my sister one time. You know, when you know how they call it the awkward teen stage?
Yeah.
You know, like you know, you go to middle school, high school, whatever, you're trying to figure out who you are and how you fit in, what clique you're going to be with. The reason they call it that is because you're figuring out new habits and it feels uncomfortable. That's why they say, you know, you have to get out of your comfort zone. In order to grow, in order to expand and get more than you have right now, you have to be uncomfortable. Because the reason you're comfortable is because it's a program. And the reason you're not getting the results is because of that program. You have to get out your comfort zone. So like, I'm 31, which you like 34?
34. I wish. 30, 36, bro.
36. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, 34.
Appreciate it.
So, you know, at our age, we're still going through the awkward stage because we're getting out of our comfort zone purposely. We're creating brand new habits and we're doing it on purpose. And the reason I say all of this, and I'll bring it back to that, as far as habits, you have to, 95% of your habits, 95% of your life is ran automatically. Now, when you think about it like this is what I told my sister. If you stand in front of me right now and I tell you to look forward and walk 3 miles an hour speed away from me, and I'm going to call your phone in an hour, and I'm going to ask you, how far away are you from me? What you going to say? You're going to say 3 miles.
Okay, yeah.
You walked at you walked at a rate of 3 miles an hour. An hour went past. So when I called you, you should be 3 miles away from me.
I should be.
Right.
Hopefully I should be. Yeah, that's why I had to think. I was like, well, how do I know I'm at? But go ahead. I'm listening.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
If you actually follow the rules, right?
Right.
Go at that rate.
Because I might not follow the rules. So yeah, I hear you.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
okay. And I'm going to get a little bit like quantum physics on you, right? So frequency and vibration is what makes up the universe. So if you look at, what's my man's name? Tesla. He said, you want to understand the mysteries of the universe and mysteries of the cosmos, you have to think in terms of frequency and vibration. Now, frequency is the rate or how frequent, the rate in which something occurs. So in this situation, in this analogy, the rate in which you're walking is 3 miles an hour, right? And so vibration is either behavior, emotion, or thought. Like when you say, man, I don't get that vibe from that person. Oh man, I felt that vibe. You're either picking up on how they behave. You can kind of feel how they're thinking, you know, and you pick up on them emotionally, right? So you mix them. That's why I say thought, action and emotion locked together creates a brand new, it's a creation. It really is. Because you're causing an effect to happen. So it's the same exact thing. If I get on the treadmill and I put it on 3 and I go an hour, it's going to say I went 3 miles. Now, what's the difference between you reverse engineering a successful person and you could say they shake hands like this, they walk like this, they speak like this, they're confident when they present and they present this way. What's the difference between being mindful enough to pay attention to what's causing their success and creating that habit in yourself to get the same result? That's all manifestation is. It's seeing what's already working and then implementing it in yourself.
It's that awareness, bro.
It is.
It's bringing that awareness to it, and then then not only just doing it, but being it.
That's it.
Because everything is about a state of being.
That's it.
You know, you had to literally become it before you actually manifest it.
And think about this, and you're absolutely right. Think on The Secret. They say act as if. Act as if you already have it, right? And you just said it. You say you have to be it before you become it. But think about the word become. If you be it, you have to be it, and it will come.
They like that. I like that.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so that's what people don't understand. When you act as if, when you walk that rate of speed, like you always, and see, if I tell somebody who doesn't walk to go 3 miles an hour, they're going to feel like a fraud. They're going to feel phony. They're going to have that imposter syndrome. Well, this ain't me. They're going to have all of this self-doubt because that's the ego. That's why it takes 21 days, because you got to break that. to get that ego out the way. After 21 days, it's like, yeah, this is what I do. This is my third week doing this. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? After 66 days, it's like, oh yeah, I walk every day.
Right.
You know, that's my thing. And
Yeah,
guess
that's
what?
who you are. Uh-huh.
Exactly. You
That's who you
became it.
are.
And then once you automate that, you automate the result. So
Yeah.
somebody can look at you and say, man, how are you crushing it like this? Or how do you get these results? To you, it comes naturally
It comes naturally. Yep.
because you automated it.
Exactly. Versus having to work for it and work
Exactly.
hard at it.
Because if
Yeah.
working hard just means that it ain't subconscious yet.
Exactly. And because you don't believe that you're already it, and that
Yep.
you don't have it. So you're actually working against yourself, really.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
like that, man. And I think in the entrepreneurial journey, that's very pertinent, because I know for me, like when I first started, bro, I had a lot of doubts, man. Like a lot of doubts. Like, of course, being raised, getting the traditional 9 to 5, and even having a 9 to 5, it's hard to see yourself as having your own business when you're used to being a worker, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
So you even had to break out of that mind frame and work to establish something new.
Right.
And that comes with you have to be it before you actually see the fruits of your labor. And I say it like that because it's easy to be an entrepreneur. All you got to do is go and get registered with your state and get your IRX tax ID and all that other stuff. Get you a bank account and all your legal documents and your bank accounts and stuff like that, and boom, you're good to go. But the rewards that you get from it, that comes from having to shift your identity to actually become that salesman of whatever that salesman or that saleswoman of whatever that product or service is
Yeah.
that you're getting out there.
Yeah.
So it's quite the journey, bro.
It is, man. And like I said, it's the best personal development program I think anybody can go through.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, it's easy. Anybody can set up, a business, a LLC or whatever.
Right.
But 97% of businesses fail within the first year, I believe. You know what I
That's
mean? So it's
crazy.
not easy to be successful.
That's
And the
crazy.
reason is people don't put the time in to actually
Right.
become business people. They think because
Right.
they were a hustler, just like I was, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Scheming, thinking of a quick way to make $1.
Yeah.
They think that translate. It doesn't. And then
Yeah.
also they don't want to change who they are because of their ego. They
Exactly.
don't want to dial themselves in.
Exactly. But you know what? Let me be honest with you, man.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I struggle with, and I don't struggle with it as much. I'm getting through it, but
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn not to look at entrepreneurship as work.
Yeah.
Meaning, if I look at it like work, there's a negative vibe that's attached to it,
Yeah.
where I'm thinking, okay, man, shoot, I gotta go and do this for this, and I gotta go do that. I gotta write this blog, or I gotta host this webinar, and you start to look at it from the wrong perspective, and you're no longer in the mode of creating. You're in the mode of just having a job and working, and that takes the fun out of it. That takes the expression and the freedom to recreate it and transform it if necessary. It takes away all your innovative ideas and all that, you know. So
I'm
so yeah. So I found that, like, in order for me to even be more uh, to be better in my business, I had to shift from working it to just being engulfed in creating, and just letting myself get lost in that process of creating and seeing what it turns out to be.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if this is this way for everyone. I do know how the human mind works. Like I said,
Hmm.
you tend to go towards things that are pleasurable. You know what I mean? But as far as like for me, a big thing that I had, right? So I went so hard my first couple of years online, and I had so much failure. I hit so many brick walls that when things looked brighter, you know what I mean? Like when I actually did figure things out, and okay, now I got to go back into ad copy. Now I got to do video editing again,
Hmm.
like I did all those times. That didn't work out, but now I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing. I just got to do these tasks. I have a negative association now
Yeah.
to where you start procrastinating. You start putting stuff off. And so that's a big reason that most people procrastinate, or most people kind of shy away from doing stuff, right? And it goes back to the same way that you form a habit. And that's why it's important. Like when I'm creating a habit for 21 days, I give myself a reward, because you have to, your brain, you have to incentivize it for yourself, because it's called neural pathways. So like I said, when you lock in an emotion in a thing, it creates a brand new neural pathway to where it tells your mind, oh, we like this. Remember, your brain scans past the thing and says, how do we feel about this?
Right.
So for 21 days, you got to tell you, oh, we like this. We get dopamine release every time we do this. So after 21 days, or I would say after 66 days for myself, it goes from the reward to the results, because the results become the reward for me.
Right.
So if I'm doing sit-ups for 30 days, I'm not going to see no six-pack. Right? Not for 30 days, I'm eating chocolate, little block of chocolate, give me that dopamine. I'm eating a smoothie, banana, whatever releases that dopamine. After 66 days, I'm not giving myself dope. I'm not giving myself a chocolate. I'm not giving myself a smoothie, because I'm starting to see things that's tightened up. I got that core strength. I'm starting to see a little visible muscle, showing right there.
That's all it takes right there, bro.
Just and that's the reward.
Bit. Yep, exactly.
That's a reward. So you shift from an artificial, manually giving yourself the reward into the result becoming a reward.
Right.
And then that's what pushes you.
And then because you want more of that reward.
Exactly.
You want to see more.
And you're going to keep going that direction. Yeah, but no one is going to do something. Nobody's going to punch a brick wall. I don't care. Like the biggest motivational speaker in the world cannot convince me that punching a brick wall is good for me. You get what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're putting themselves in pain, but then they're trying to will themselves to continue putting themselves in pain.
Right.
The trick is, just like Kobe, right? Like I said, I watched a documentary, rest in peace. He passed away earlier this year. Man, that dude was a big inspiration to me. Just like Jordan was. I used to watch Michael Jordan tapes. I used to slow down how he went up the dunk. You know what I mean? It's like, I was fascinated by all of that stuff, but more importantly, their mindset. You know what I mean? Like Kobe talked about cause and effect. He talked about habits. He was very analytical like that. But even what was I talking?
Oh, hold up, bro. So let's back up for a second, because you even put me on to something too. Mindful athlete.
Oh yeah.
Kobe, and I want to say Jordan was using him too, right? Yeah. So let's first of all, bro, before we go on, how much time? What's your time looking like, man?
Oh, we can go for some more.
We can go a little more. Okay, we'll go a little longer.
I'm just trying not to sweat too much.
Now you got look. You on that? For those who don't know, my man's on a desk treadmill. He real fancy over there today. So he,
I had to level up, man.
Yeah. So he's talking to us, but he breaking a sweat because he's literally on a treadmill right now. So
light beaming on me.
Yeah. It's all good, brother. You're good, man. But the mindful athlete. So I was talking to my son, talking to Kyle about that book. And it ties in the exact same principles, how when you tap into your subconscious, you go into this state of flow, where it's and I want to say I've experienced it maybe like once or twice, where I felt like it was like an outer body experience where you're watching yourself perform what it is that you're doing, but you're so into it that you're like out of it you're watching it at the same time. So I was explaining to Kyle about how, like with Kobe Bryant, when he had that 81 point game, how I want to say like before that game he was meeting with the dude who wrote that book, and I forget the brother's name who wrote the book.
It's George something.
Yeah. Maybe I'll
something with a G.
Yeah, I'll post the link in this and the bottom of this YouTube video for everybody to see. But the Mindful Athlete, that was a great book.
Not to cut you off.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Hold your thought, right?
Yep.
So the thing I liked about it, because I think he met Kobe in the elevator, like he caught up with Kobe, and Kobe was saying, "Man, I'm just trying to, feel my way through my game, whatever." And he said, "Look," he said, "the key to scoring is to try not to score." And he said the very next game, Kobe dropped at 81 points.
He became detached from the how.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Because you got to move your mind out the way. When you think too
Right.
much, you're not trusting what you trained your body to do.
Ooh, dog. And what's crazy though is that's supposed to be our natural state.
It is. It is.
But we're taught the complete opposite, bro.
Yeah. And let me tell you this, man.
Yeah.
Habits work in both ways. It doesn't discriminate. Just like they say, the
And
universe
the
doesn't
universe,
care. Yeah, laws are laws, right? We literally live in a simulated game, okay?
Right.
And all science is reverse engineering God, figuring
Right.
out what the codes are, what the what the laws are, what the code,
Right.
what the rules to the games are.
Mm-hmm.
So it does not discriminate. So you can create habits in a good way, and you can create habits in a bad way. I told you before we got on this call that I went 9 days straight doing episodes on my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because of the quarantine, I'm in the house with the
Right.
family. So I was waiting till like 1 a.m. till it got quiet
Right.
to do my episode. So I said, man, look, I'm gonna put this on hold till this quarantine is over.
Right. Right.
So whenever you do something more than once, you're now creating a brand new habit.
Mm-hmm.
So that was about 2 weeks ago that I stopped. And I planned on picking up on it the next day, but guess what? I haven't done it since.
Mm-hmm.
So I created 9 days straight of doing a positive habit. And then once I said, okay, I'm gonna put it off to tomorrow. Well, I already put it off yesterday. I'm gonna put it off one day.
Yeah.
I created a brand new habit.
A brand new habit, yeah.
So it goes either way, negative or positive.
And it's crazy because every moment is an opportunity to create a habit.
It is.
Because every moment is an opportunity to make a decision.
It is.
And that's all a habit is based off of. A habit's based off of, okay, what are you deciding to do at this moment?
Absolutely. We're always practicing something. We're always reinforcing and strengthening something, good or bad.
Always. So since we're on the topic of the subconscious mind still, one tactic that I've been using is programming my subconscious mind while I sleep.
Okay.
So
yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. So and you know what I'm about to tell you. When I've recorded my voice,
right,
with my affirmations over the binaural beats, I'll record. I'll come up with some affirmations of whatever I want to, whatever programs that I want to input to my subconscious mind. I'll write them down in the form of I am this, I am healthy, I am abundant, I am whatever you want to be. Write that down, record it over some binaural beats, and then I'll just play it to myself as I go to sleep. And they say that right when, and I forget what the level of that brain wave is, but we all move from different brain waves as we go to sleep and as we wake up.
Right.
But whatever that brain wave is it theta? I want to say, is it theta?
I don't think it's theta. I could tell you right now.
Yeah. Look that up for me while I finish going through. But I know that whatever that brain wave is, that's like the window to your subconscious mind. It's theta. Okay, good. So it's theta. So whenever you get to that theta brain state, then that's when you have that open door that the conscious mind is now out of the way. Okay, because at first it's a gate. So any type of programs that you try to bring in, that conscious mind is up there. So although you're telling yourself these things, if conscious mind is still awake and alert, it's going to service that block, that filter. So at that theta state, that's when the conscious mind goes down, and now you have that open doorway. So at that point of falling asleep, I'm hearing myself tell myself who I am, and my subconscious mind is just eating it up. Yep. So I've been doing that for quite some time, honestly. And I don't really, I'll say it like this. I don't really feel like I have anything to like substantiate that it's working. But I do feel like it's playing a role, at least, because I feel like it's reinforcing the previous experiences that I've had. Like when I told you about when I did the 30-day affirmations where I'm writing it down, and how I had those benchmarks where I felt despair, but then I had all those business ideas that I was running with and I'm working on and such. Right. So I feel like when I program myself at night to go to sleep, I feel like that's also playing a role in giving me these other ideas that I'm having as well.
Oh, it is.
So I feel like it's all coming together somehow,
It is.
Yeah.
because like I said, there's a Bruce Lipton. He
Hmm.
says subconscious is really like undermining like how powerful that part of the mind is, that part of consciousness is, because like I said, 95% of what we do comes from that. And sub means beneath, something that you're just not thinking about. So anything we just do that we don't think about anymore, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying, it's in the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So you might not think that it showed up in a way that it would show up, if you generally think about it, but those little micro decisions that you're making is
Yeah.
causing an effect to happen that's accumulating over time.
Right, right. And I like that idea about the micro decisions because it's the small decisions that are the most important ones, man.
It is.
Like when you honor those small decisions, you'll be surprised of the change you can create in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this is good stuff, brother, man. I definitely appreciate you coming out here and sharing your gems with us and your tidbits from your entrepreneurial journey. Definitely appreciate you, man. So before we go, tell us how we can find you if somebody wanted to get in contact with you.
I'm on Facebook, so you can, go to facebook.com/Rodney Stokes online, RODNEY STOKES online. And hopefully by the time you listen to this podcast, this video, this blog post, however you're getting it, I have my software launched, and that'll be at socialprospectorpro.com. And also I have a podcast that I just started that I was just talking about. Got 9 episodes so far. Hopefully I'll do more by the time you listen again. That's at prospectorpodcast.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for that, man. We appreciate you coming out here and sharing your knowledge with us. And
My pleasure, man.
absolutely. And we'll definitely make sure to get you back on here again.
Oh, yeah. Much love, man. Hopefully I can get back on here, man. I'm digging this.
Yeah, absolutely. You already know, bro.
All
All right,
right.
man.